Imagine a land untouched by time, where the earth is cloaked in a tapestry of green so dense that sunlight scarcely kisses the forest floor. This is the heart of the Pacific Islands during World War II, a realm where every rustle could be a friend or a foe, and every shadow might conceal peril. Soldiers, far from home, ventured into these jungles, their senses heightened, every snap of a twig sending pulses racing. The air was thick, not just with humidity, but with an ever-present tension, a tension that gnawed at the edges of sanity. Days melded into nights, and the line between reality and nightmare began to blur. The jungle, with its symphony of sounds, became both a shroud and a snare. To the west, nestled in the Bay of Bengal, lies Ramree Island, a place that would etch its name into the annals of history. Strategically vital, its capture was deemed essential for the Allies to establish airfields, extending their reach into the Burmese theater. In January 1945, the 26th Indian Infantry Division, bolstered by Royal Marine Commandos, set their sights on Ramree. Their mission was clear: seize the island, establish airfields, and tighten the noose around Japanese forces. But the island's true challenge lay not in its strategic importance, but in the very terrain that promised advantage. The mangrove swamps, with their labyrinthine waterways and treacherous mudflats, would soon become both a refuge and a tomb. As the battle raged, the dense mangroves offered concealment but also concealed horrors. What was meant to be a strategic maneuver turned into a desperate fight for survival against an enemy that was neither seen nor heard. And so, the stage was set, not just for a battle between armies, but for a confrontation with the very essence of fear and survival. Let me tell you what my grandfather once shared, a tale so chilling, it has haunted our family's lore for generations. Picture, if you can, the year 1945, amidst the harrowing chaos of World War II. Ramree Island, a seemingly insignificant speck in the vastness of the Pacific, became the stage for an ordeal that blurred the lines between human conflict and nature's unrelenting fury. Grandfather spoke of the relentless march through Burma's oppressive jungles, where each step was a battle against suffocating humidity and the ever-present threat of unseen enemies. The soldiers, far from their homeland, pressed on, driven by duty and the hope of survival. On January 26, 1945, the 26th Indian Infantry Division, reinforced by Royal Marine Commandos, landed on Ramree's shores. Their mission was clear: seize the island to establish airfields, tightening the noose around the retreating Japanese forces. But the island's true terror awaited beyond the battlefield. The mangrove swamps, dense, labyrinthine, and treacherous, transformed into a nightmarish labyrinth. Grandfather's voice would tremble as he described the soldiers' descent into this hellish maze, where every rustle could be a lurking predator, and every shadow hid a lurking doom. Amidst the oppressive silence, punctuated only by the occasional cry of a distant bird, the soldiers became prey. The mangroves, with their hidden dangers, concealed horrors beyond imagination. Grandfather recounted tales of comrades vanishing without a trace, their screams swallowed by the dense foliage. Days bled into nights, and the line between reality and nightmare blurred. The swamps, once seen as a refuge, became a tomb. My grandfather spoke of the oppressive atmosphere, where the air was thick with dread, and every movement could be one's last. Emerging from the mangroves was a rarity. Of the 1,000 soldiers who ventured into that hellish expanse, only a handful returned, their minds shattered, their bodies broken. The rest became part of the swamp's ghastly legend, their fate sealed by nature's unyielding wrath. Grandfather's tales, though told with stoic bravery, carried an unspoken weight, a recognition of the fine line between survival and surrender, and the haunting memories of those who never emerged from the mangroves. His tales often ventured into realms that defied belief, Yet the horrors he recounted from Ramree Island were etched into his memory with an intensity that left an indelible mark on my own soul. Imagine, if you will, the year is 1945, and amidst the chaos of World War II, a battalion of Japanese soldiers finds themselves ensnared in the labyrinthine mangroves of Ramree Island. These men, seasoned by the brutalities of war, had encountered countless adversities. Yet, nothing could have prepared them for the nightmare that awaited in the swamps, a nightmare that would transform the very earth beneath their feet into a quagmire of death. After enduring relentless bombardments and assaults, the Japanese forces, numbering around 1,000, retreated into the dense mangrove swamps, seeking refuge from the advancing Allied troops. Little did they know, the swamps harbored a terror far beyond human combat. These mangroves, with their dense vegetation and hidden dangers, became a death trap. The soldiers, struggling through the treacherous terrain, were unaware that they had entered the domain of the saltwater crocodile, a creature as ancient as the land itself and as unforgiving as the jungle. On the night of February 19, 1945, the unthinkable occurred. As the soldiers attempted to navigate the swamps, they became prey to the lurking saltwater crocodiles. The night was filled with blood-curdling screams as these massive reptiles, some reaching lengths of up to 23 feet, emerged from the murky depths to drag men into the water, never to be seen again. My grandfather spoke of the terror that gripped the men as they realized the swamp was not just a refuge but a hunting ground. The very earth beneath them seemed alive, pulsating with unseen threats. Every rustle in the underbrush, every ripple in the water, sent waves of panic through their ranks. Survival became a desperate struggle against both the environment and the relentless predators. Those who managed to escape the crocodiles faced the psychological torment of witnessing their comrades' gruesome fates, their minds scarred by the horrors they had endured. Emerging from the mangroves was a rarity. Of the 1,000 soldiers who ventured into that hellish expanse, only a handful returned, their bodies broken and minds shattered. The rest became part of the swamp's ghastly legend, their fate sealed by nature's unyielding wrath. Growing up, I was captivated by the tales my grandfather shared, stories of valor, survival, and the unyielding spirit of those who faced unimaginable horrors. Yet, among these narratives, one stood out, a tale that seemed too extraordinary to be true. He spoke of Ramree Island, where, amidst the chaos of World War II, Japanese soldiers met their end not by gunfire, but by the jaws of lurking crocodiles. But as I delved deeper into history, seeking to understand the events my grandfather described, I encountered discrepancies that made me question the veracity of his account. The numbers, the scale, the very essence of the tale seemed to unravel under scrutiny. Historians have long debated the casualty figures from the battle. Official records indicate that Japanese forces suffered approximately 500 fatalities, with around 20 taken prisoner. British losses, by contrast, were minimal. Nowhere in these documents is there mention of a crocodile-induced massacre. Moreover, the behavior attributed to saltwater crocodiles in these tales, coordinated, large-scale attacks on live humans, is inconsistent with what we know of their nature. While these reptiles are formidable predators, the notion of them orchestrating feeding frenzies of such magnitude lacks credible evidence. Expert analyses further challenge the myth. In 2001, herpetologist Stephen Platt visited Ramree Island and interviewed residents who had lived through the war. Their accounts did not support the narrative of widespread crocodile attacks. Instead, they recalled that the few crocodile-related deaths occurred when soldiers attempted to cross tidal creeks, not in mass attacks within the swamps. The allure of this tale has permeated popular culture, inspiring books, documentaries, and even entries in record books. Yet, as with many sensational stories, the line between fact and fiction blurs, leaving us to ponder the origins and motivations behind such embellishments. As I sit here reflecting on my grandfather's tales, I am reminded of the complexities of history. Stories passed down through generations are shaped by memory, perception, and the passage of time. While the allure of grand narratives is undeniable, it is our responsibility to seek the truth, to distinguish between myth and reality, and to honor the experiences of those who lived through these events. Reflecting upon the harrowing events that unfolded on Ramree Island during World War II, we unearth lessons that transcend time and geography. The mangrove swamps, once a backdrop to unimaginable trials, now stand as silent witnesses to the resilience and adaptability of the human spirit. Military strategists, in their pursuit of victory, often overlook the environments they traverse. The dense mangroves of Ramree Island, with their labyrinthine waterways and hidden perils, were underestimated by many. This oversight led to unforeseen challenges, emphasizing the imperative to comprehend and respect natural terrains. A thorough understanding of such habitats is crucial, not just for operational success, but for the preservation of life. Amidst the chaos of war, the human capacity for endurance shines through. Soldiers, thrust into the heart of terror, showcased an innate will to survive. Their stories are testaments to the strength of the human spirit, the unbreakable bond of camaraderie, and the primal instinct to overcome insurmountable odds. These narratives remind us of our shared humanity and the lengths we'll go to protect one another. War, in all its brutality, forces us to confront moral dilemmas that challenge our core beliefs. The events on Ramree Island prompt introspection about our ethical responsibilities, especially when operating within delicate ecosystems. How do we balance mission objectives with the sanctity of life? How do we ensure that our actions uphold the dignity of all beings, human and animal alike? These questions urge us to redefine our approach to warfare, advocating for strategies that honor both our soldiers and the environments they navigate. As we piece together the fragments of this historical puzzle, we recognize the importance of discerning fact from fiction. The legacy of Ramree Island serves as a cautionary tale, urging future generations to tread thoughtfully, to respect the forces of nature, and to uphold ethical standards, even in the most trying of circumstances. Let the lessons of Ramree Island guide us towards a future where strategy aligns with environmental stewardship, where resilience is nurtured through empathy, and where ethics remain the compass by which we navigate the complexities of warfare. Visual prompt: the mangrove forests of Ramree Island, now protected, teeming with life, a testament to healing and hope.